you carry it to the end. His strength is in your weakness. You're the only reason he exists. Every time you give in to his lie, and you don't you resist. But don't think that you're the only victim of his sick disease, like a puppet on a string. The whole world dances to the wicked song that he sings. Now lying is his specialty. His expertise. Truth, he don't need no proof. He's got the power to deceive. The whole world has become his workshop, and he's got a pawn in the game to him. On the religion, science, or truth, nothing is sacred. No, nothing is sacred to him. Whenever man is straight, you can bet his ass away. Oh, can't you see? He was that snake there in the garden, the one that tricked you around and he's behind Santa Claus, and that image on the wall. Everyone what you believe. He's the beast of a revelation, being not mistaken, the real Satan. That's him. Don't waste your time in cursing you. He won't do you a bit of good, 'cause his only life is in your mind. He's only understood if you would just start believing in truth and reality. Take his life away, so as long as you keep using him, using you get died.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us this morning for All Things Human. Alhamdulillah, we continue our journey that began under the topic Satan, Hypocrites, History, and the Word of God, and continues in this chapter, which is under the title How Shaitan Manages the Society. How Shaitan, that is Satan, how he manages the society, and that's what we're talking about. And we're going to do that. What we got here? Good. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Let me close this out. So, all right, let's ride it. So we've this most recent period. I got to get my image, get my picture straight here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pick up where we are with this slide, let's say. We covered this, I don't know, maybe 2 segments ago, but we're still inside of it. Now, this figure here, this Hank Helena, we've already explained that he is the Jacobite in our reading of this, Lucifer, the Dajjal, etc. One of his lines in the clip that we played from the movie Simone, which you see the picture here, the straw god changed my life. But we know that it is also saying the straw god saved my life. And we point out that the straw god is, as those of you who are with us through Imam Muhammad's piece that we played at the beginning, the straw god is the Western European Trinitarian Christianity, especially with its element of Christian Zionism. That's such a big story. We'll, mashallah, I don't know when we'll take it up very specifically. We have in the past, but it's definitely going to come up in the political side. I can assure you of that, inshallah. So we'll go on with that. So the idea that imagery there, this classic picture is a representation of the story of Jesus saving Peter from drowning after Peter fell trying to walk on the water. And so this is that straw god. This is that straw god that saved his life. So that lets you know that Peter is actually the representation of Hank Heleno in our interpretation. And this picture of Jesus, subhanallah, this picture of Jesus, this depiction of Jesus, subhanallah, is actually Western European Trinitarian Christianity that saved the Jacobite, gave him a protection from the otherwise beastly power of the Western European that was against the Jews. And so they came up with a strategy that would enable them to have power over their enemies. And that is what Western European Trinitarian Christianity is, and it has worked to a T. All right. So let's move on and further demonstrate some of that. I found an example, a very good example between last week and today. So therefore, this is the reason I'm sharing it with you. And it's the movie The Village, M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan, I believe I guess that's how you say his name. The Village, right? So just let me go back. So just replace the Jacobite with the people that's in the village. That people that are in the village, the storyline is that there's a group of people there, and if you don't know, I'm not trying to tell the whole story. If you don't know, the whole setting of it is such that you think it's back at the turn of the century. It's like in the earlier years of American life, right? They seem very rural, like farm-like people, right? So that's who you think they are. That's where you think they're from. It's not until the end of the movie that you find out that they're like in Central Park somewhere, in some deep place that they have set up and they have raised generation after generation, thinking that they are in some other world, some other country, etc. There's a Star Trek series that we also played when we illustrated some of this in another presentation a few years back. The Star Trek, where it says, "I've been to the mountaintop and I've touched the sky. I've been to the top of the mountain and I've touched the sky." And there was a group of people who, quote unquote, aliens, but they all are always very human. In any case, they've been on their planet, such as they thought, but no, it wasn't a planet. It was a spaceship that was made to appear or to seem to those who weren't born knowing that it was a spaceship. They are living under the illusion that the world that they're in is a world, a planet, when in fact it's a spaceship, and they've been in space traveling after the destruction of their planet, kind of a diaspora. And so I've been to the mountaintop and I touched the sky, but there was this, that's that old crazy man. But this is somebody who had actually gone to the top of what appeared to be a mountain and touched what appeared to be the sky. But then, since nobody else had done that, it's crazy. Brother and sister, this kind of knowing, this kind of understanding, these parables, like what is it? Plato's cave is either Plato's cave or Socrates' cave. Either way, the whole cave. I'm pretty sure it's Plato. In any case, that's knowledge that goes back. Okay, I got the ancient Kemet piece. I got all that. So I have to just always mention that so nobody don't think, come on, I got it. Okay. The point is that knowledge is old. So if it's older than, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, if it's older than them, which it is, then in fact, indeed, it's like, it is Kemetic, quote unquote, Pharaonic, etc., and thousands of years. So it's knowledge that has been memorialized, that has been saved, that has been ritualized, that has been preserved and passed along to those who have been initiated into it, etc. It's been carried by people who are unconscious, and indeed the victims themselves carry the evidence, the influence, and really the information. Because somebody can look at someone, for example, somebody looks at someone's sickness, for example. You have the eyes to look at the person's sickness, and then if you can recognize the sickness, then i.e. the symptoms, then you can also recognize, with that knowledge, you can also recognize the sources of the symptoms. Now, if you want to create those symptoms in somebody else, then all you have to do is bring about the same kind of conditions that fostered those symptoms in a previous generation. Then you can do it again in the current generation. And as long as you're able to do that, and as long as you're able to keep everything set the way that it is, and that's important, that word set, go back to this pantheon of Egyptian gods and find who is set. So as long as you can do that, then you get a mindset, and you're able to keep that going. There's a method, I don't want to stay too long here. The fixed action pattern, modal action pattern, sign stimulus. Look those things up, because these are the ways where somebody says, look, I can put you on a Pavlov's dog program. It doesn't matter. If you don't know how I'm reinforcing, if you don't know how I'm conditioning you, then I can just keep conditioning you and your children and your children's children, and they will be predisposed to be conditioned in that way. And I'll tell my children how to play on your children so that your children will be the servants of my children. Look up that story. The story said, Choose the Slave. Just put that in Google, Choose the Slave. The Jewish fable, Choose the Slave. Look that up. Okay, let's get back to this. So the group of people, and so what it turns out to be, it's a group of people who are, quote unquote, sick and tired of the world and the murders and the rapes and the robberies and the of the outer world. And so they're the founders of this village. They created a plan where they were the architects of the plan. They were consciously knowing that, well, we know we're going to go into an artificial situation. We know it's an artificial situation, and we know the elements that have to be present that actually make up the full perception of whoever it is that we want to keep in this laboratory type circumstance, but they not know that they're in a laboratory circumstance. Going back to the Truman Show, same kind of scenario. All these other movies that I've talked to you about, these are all they are depictions of what has really happened in this and continues to happen in the society. So all we need to know are what are the conditions that need to be created and sustained in order to perpetuate the mindset, the way of thinking, the beliefs, and the behaviors that we want to see. All we have to do is maintain that environment. And we got okay. So that's what the village is actually demonstrating. It's a picture of that very thing. And so at the end of the movie, and the only one that got out was the blind girl. The girl who she was the only one who could find the way out. She was a blind girl. And the way that the main way that they controlled the people in the village was this is the red creature. There's a red creature right here. This is the costume. They created a boogeyman, right? They created a boogeyman, a scarecrow, if you will. And that's when you go back to the Jeepers Creepers image. It's the same thing. It's designed to scare, to frighten, etc. The individuals who are the object of the manipulation, frighten them into a certain behavior. You know, the boogeyman gonna get you. You know, like Santa Claus, you better watch out. You better not pout, you better not cry, because Santa Claus is coming to town. You know, he knows when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been good or bad. So be good for goodness sake. So it's like that's to frighten and coerce the child into behaving in a certain way. And so it's a mechanism of control. It's a mechanism of control. And that is exactly what the false image of Jesus Christ, who we as Muslims believe in Jesus Christ, but that idea of Jesus Christ has been given in Western European Trinitarian Christianity is a scarecrow. It is a boogeyman. It is designed. That one is designed as a mechanism of control, sign, stimulus, fixed action pattern, modal action pattern, a symbol for control over who? The ones that were a threat to the one who created it. And it said, the straw God changed my life. The straw God saved my life. That's how they protect it. And the biggest protection for them are Christian Zionists. This is not a religious, what I'm saying, the thing, I'm not even focused on that, but I'm saying you can see it. Now go spend some time looking and seeing how much of the current politics of the Republicans is undergirded by Christian Zionism. You go look at that. All right, so let's move on for this presentation. So the Jacobite is a small group of ungodly people, wise to the world and to human nature, seeking to evade their own extinction. This didn't just start. This has been going on for thousands of years. Okay. Now, I want to bring your attention to, I think you can see my cursor. This young man right here, I have forgotten that, in fact, just seeing this picture again right here, that he was even the movie. This is even in the movie. This is Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg. I think I'm gonna have to go back to that meta piece for you to really appreciate this, because I want you to watch out for those fixed action patterns, those modal action patterns, those signs, stimulus that come up in your mind, and whoever else is thinking, this is it's just against the Jews. This is just more that Jewish anti-Semitism rhetoric, and no, that's the game, though. That's the game, to get people to, whenever that comes up, then you push back this way. Don't say that. No, we're gonna say it because it is what it is. It's like it is. So this Jesse Eisenberg. Remember, I tried to point out, and I pointed out to you, that certain characters play certain roles, and so they are symbols in the lexicon of movie making. There is what you expect Sean Connery to be when you see him. There is what you expect to see when Morgan Freeman's character is there, right? And we've talked about, in this line, we've talked about Al Pacino and now Al Pacino, Godfather. How many parts to Godfather? According to my count, it was only 3. Why? Why is it into 3? Then you got Al Pacino, who plays two sides. He played the devil. He plays the devil. He played the quote unquote so-called good guy police in Heat and the like. But you have him as Scarface, and so many others. So where I'm at? Jesse Eisenberg. Okay, Jesse Eisenberg. You might remember him as playing Mark Zuckerberg in the social. I think it's called The Social Network. Right. He also plays the Jacobite character. By our interpretation, the Jacobite character Lex Luthor in the Batman versus Superman, which is full of the very thing I'm telling you right now. Well, I'm telling you right now, you can find the same marbling, you can find the same thing in that movie, and you don't have to dig deep. You just basically just got to know the code. I mean, once you know the code, say, oh, okay, same thing. He plays a key character in The Four Horsemen. Also, I'm talking about this guy, Jesse Eisenberg, and there are a couple of other roles that he plays. So the point is that when you look at this movie, The Village, what he appears to have, just like Hank Helino's character, this character right here, you only see him for, I don't know, however long that little clip is. It's whatever. It's less than 5 minutes. I'm quite sure. His interchange between Al Pacino or with Al Pacino. That's it for him. He's gone. He's out of there. But he's that conversation and the role that what he brings and leaves after his death. Al Pacino received what he left, the hard drive, like the Hard Rock Cafe, the hard drive that he left. He inherited it. Al Pacino inherited it from him. Okay, so it's an inheritance, right? So that's a big deal. You got to think about. You get into Esau and Jacob. Understand what went on with that. Isaac and Jacob. What went on with that inheritance, that whole piece. All right. So I think it's between the two, Esau and Jacob. So in terms of that inheritance, Imam Muhammad said, Satan is a mindset that is inherited by people that come into a certain way of thinking, and they use it against the common human person, right? So that goes back with the fallen, right? Each one who got whatever the devil, quote unquote, was in that, it was an inheritance from the person that had it before them, and it's inherited by the next, and it's inherited by the next. So this is what has happened. Those people who dominate the masses of people who don't know the game and who prey upon those people who don't know the game, they pass it on to subsequent generations in order for them to maintain their rule and management over that. That's the world we live in right now. We live in a managed world by those who have inherited the keys, back to Peter with the keys, those who have inherited the keys to bind and to loose those powers over the people using what? Sign stimulus. They give you the symbol. They give you the symbol. Back up. Whoever's trying to attack us, whoever's trying to how can you say, expose us, eliminate us, etc. So the village is just a symbol of these people, a small group of ungodly people, wise to the world and to human nature, seeking to evade their own extinction. And that is the underlying fear and dread of these people. So now here, Jesse Eisenberg, he's just dropped in there. You have this figure and he plays a role, but his role is so minor. Now, I go into a movie with some detail that I'm interested in. It's like, he's just forgettable. I even also forgot about Andrew Brody, who's also in this movie. And Andrew Brody was one. He's presented as the crazy person. He's like the idiot nephew or the idiot son kind of in the movie, right? But why? Because he's like that old man in the Star Trek piece I was telling you. He said, I went to the top of the mountain and I've touched the sky. He came to know the game behind the village, to know the reality behind the village, the reality of the so-called, I don't know what they call it, but I'm going to call him the boogeyman. But there was a conspiracy to say, no, that's not, it's like, he's crazy. And he did go, quote unquote, crazy in appearance because of the fact that I know what I know. I saw what I saw. I know what I'm seeing is real, but y'all trying to make me think I'm crazy, which brings us back to brings us now to mention gaslighting. Gaslighting, that's another thing you need to be aware of. Gaslight. So you get gaslighted. So it's like if you weren't crazy, if you don't figure out how they're playing against what your quote unquote lying eyes have showed you, and you keep allowing more and more of the fabric of what you realize and actualize in your own experience to be true, but they start tearing away from it, and now you're getting torn between, well, is it true? Is it not true? Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I didn't see what I thought I saw. Before it's over, now you crazy. And so they don't have to worry about you no more. They just tell everybody you crazy. And that's that whole idea about conspiracy theories. When people once you do find, hey, look, if it is a conspiracy, then it's not a theory, right? But even that phrasing itself was put together by the people who craft the conspiracies. Shh. Spell it out and you get an idea who I'm talking about. I'm just playing games, not out of fear. And this is serious. I say I'm playing games, but having fun, I should say. So, shh. Anybody know anybody named Patricia? Okay, that's all the hint I can give you. So, where are we at here? Okay, so the village, right? So the village makes me think about the village people. All right, small group of people, blah, 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 Jacobite, Lucifer, da, 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 da. So what do? They fashioned a psychological strategy, which is they created a religion to defeat the heart and mind of a bigger enemy, which is the Gentile, who was a threat to them. This is what the Jacobite did. What did he use? He used ancient knowledge, and we've already explained that, but there's more to come on that. So here, this is the front cover of the box for the movie, The Golem. You'll hear you got what is that? Lord of the Rings. You got The Golem. Think about that. The Golem this is a 1925 movie, silent film, The Golem. And the Golem is really the precursor of Frankenstein. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. That wasn't like born new in her mind. The Golem, the Frankenstein is the Golem. And it's Frankenstein's monster. We call him Frankenstein, but that's not Frankenstein. That's Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein made the monster, right? And in the movie The Golem, the Golem was created in order to protect the Jews from the power of a village of Jews, to protect them from the monarchical powers that were going to have them evacuated, eliminated, decimated. And so the rabbi had to reach back and get old knowledge and force Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth is like, okay, you're an evil dude, but we know that you have the secret of the sacred word. You have the secret word. You, Astaroth. Just think, I'm just saying for sake of understanding so we can move on. Think Ifrit of the jinn. Just think Ifrit of the jinn. So they have Astaroth. This is a part of this Kabbalah, right? So the one who's holding the secret is the evil one. But if you know the right spell, then you can force the evil one to give you that word, right? Let me see if I made a note so I can read that a little better. Let's see. Okay, Astaroth is this. I'm gonna call it a jinn, but in the silent film, it's called the dreaded spirit Astaroth. So there's a rabbi talking. He said, "I must wrest the life-giving word that will bring the golem to life to save my people." Then listen, just get the idea. Okay, we need to save our people. Okay, well then, what does God have to do with it? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? It's like you don't go to God. You don't go to God. You go to Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth, because we know. Listen, they're saying that. Oh, excuse me, slippery phones. In the movie, the Golem, they're saying that the life-giving word that will bring the golem to life to save my people is with the dreaded spirit Ashtaroth. Europeans are called Goyim, right? And that L translates into a Y for that language. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The golem, the Goyim, same thing. Check it out for yourself. It's true. So the idea, so Frankenstein is like we're giving Frankenstein as though it's something brand new. No, man, Frankenstein is thousands of years old. It's just the updated version of it. Somebody will make you think that it's new to the mind of some young European girl with regard to that. All right. So what's next? Okay. So here's how the game goes. This is the game. And this has been the game for these thousands of years that I'm talking about. Jacobite is not new. It wasn't February 1975 that Jacobite was born. No, he's been around. Different names: Lucifer, Dajjal, etc. Right? So now this is from the movie Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Blog Talk, sorry. Hopefully some of you can multitask. Either way. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. So this character, they put both of them together. This character is called the Master Blaster. Doesn't that sound like hip-hop language? It is hip-hop language. Master Blaster. Right? So I'll just read the piece that they have there. I found it online somewhere. I think it's like this. Whatever. I can't remember. You look it up. Look up Barter Town and Master Blaster. You'll find it somewhere. So it says, who runs Barter Town? This is where it all goes down in the movie. This is one with Tina Turner in it, right? Who runs Barter Town? Maybe these two. There are two people, if you haven't noticed already. The brains is named Master, and the brawn is called Blaster. Together, this dynamic duo runs Bartertown along with Auntie Entity. And I just want you to understand this. Bartertown is the global economy, all right? Bartertown is the global economy. Just like Kirk, when you spell Captain Kirk, when you get the spelling right, you'll get church. Church. And if you want to know the wealthiest religious establishment on the planet, then you have to look at the church, especially the Catholic Church where Peter sits. MashaAllah, I'm not mad, I'm just pointing out. So church, C-H-U-R-C-H, is Kirk. C-H is K-U-R, and then C-H, that's K again. Kirk, Captain Kirk. What's the name of that spaceship? Starship Enterprise. The Starship Enterprise. Boldly going where no man has gone before. MashaAllah. All right. So together, this dynamic duo runs Bartertown along with Auntie Entity. Sometimes they even wrestle for control, since Master is responsible for producing the city's energy needs, right? More than just a fancy take on a Mad Max character, Master Blaster was George Miller's, who's the director, his curious insight into how, listen now, how some people survived or keep surviving. So this is about surviving. Remember, smart Jacobite, a small group of ungodly people wise to the world and to human nature, seeking to evade their own extinction, seeking to survive, right? Holocaust survivors, is you often hear that language, and all respect to the humanity and Allah's justice upon those who are wrong and evil in the process. But don't think that they were all only the ones behind the barbed wire. Moving on. What we see between these two is good old-fashioned symbiosis. Master is the physically weak but smart. Sound like anybody you know? Blaster is mentally incapable but strong. Opposites attract and also give Mad Max himself a hard time. So here on the side there, now you see who the Master is and who the Blaster is. The Master is Peter in the game, and the Blaster is, I'm just going to put it straight, white supremacy, right? The lie that was told to the European to make him think that he is a direct descendant of God himself. And then the Jacobite got on his shoulders, in his head, and rode him and rides him around the world to take other folks' stuff and then turn it over to the Master. All right. All you got to do is just look into how much financial support comes from America to occupied Palestine. How much power does that little small nation exert in the world and upon America? How many politicians dare not say a thing that runs counter to the aspirations of Israel? And don't get it twisted. The former president's son-in-law, whose birthday gift was a building 666 in New York. I've looked it up through my sources as well. As like, this is not just talk. This is what was given to him. So, mashallah, we got to move on. So remember this. The highest knowledge of man in society is the science of his spirituality. And believe me, this is Imam Muhammad speaking. And believe me, you're not ruled by guns. You're not subdued because of great physical knowledge. You're subdued because there are people in this world who know more about your spirituality than you do. And they're able to use the tools of science that they have regarding your spirituality to manipulate you and keep you under adverse spirits. Now, this is Imam Muhammad. That was Pharoah in Egypt, March 21st, 1982. This picture on the lower right, that's Al Sharpton, Reverend Al Sharpton. That person in the middle is Rick Rubin. I don't know who the girl is, and I don't know what was going on there. But there's a guy standing back. Look like it's like a Black Panther motif. I get from that. That's a shotgun. This guy standing behind him with a shotgun. He's not. So those who are not seeing the pictures, he's not aiming the gun is not being aimed at anybody in the picture. It's just like it's a part of the regalia, right? So this is to say, and I'm about to show you a little bit more. It's like Al Sharpton is like, on one level, it's like, let's put it like this: game within the game, right? If you don't think Al Sharpton has got game, look, no disrespect. I just gotta say what it is, and y'all work out whatever you gotta work out. It's like, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it just to put a humorous take on it. But it's like, come on now. If you don't think Al Sharpton got game on how to get people, worked up and quote unquote say yeah woo, how to work a crowd, then you don't know. I mean, unless of course some people is like, I mean, literally they just outgrown it, but the point is that there are principles that still work on some people, and that's part of the game that he got. Is what it is. Wherever I'm wrong, and I'm wrong, then send me a note and let me know. Okay. But I'm saying, even inside of all that he knows, let's grant him some. And it's like he don't know none of what the Rick Rubins of the world know. Wallahi. So he's standing there. They're there. You think we on the same plane? We're running the same game. It's like, man, you're in a whole different world. I'm on a level where you ain't even peeped into where I am right now. So mashallah. So let's touch on that a little bit more. That's what I'm saying. But see, it's a spiritual game. Now I guess that's the main thing I'm trying to get to. It's a spiritual game. The key of life is about getting into people's heads, getting into people's hearts, manipulating them above their head, and even allowing them to think that they know. And you may even be the one that, oh man, you know what? I never thought of that. You may be the one saying it to them, but you playing on their stupidity, because it's like, oh, you thought that was deep. Oh, okay, well, let me act like that's deep. Oh yeah, tell me more. Come on now. That's what's going on. That's what I am speaking of. That the devil on that level. That's what I'm talking about. All right, moving on. So here's Rick Rubin. Just give you a couple of images. That bottom right image. That's the guy that played the guitar in whatever. It's a Mad Max. It's a Mad Max flick. But see, they're showing you the big, the great, the power of music, rock, fire coming out of the guitar, and so that's all that is a depiction of, this is what's going on in the world. We are the master blasters of the world, and we are dominating it through our power in the music industry. So I just mentioned in passing and kept on moving, talking about politics. You remember I talked to you about the guy, whatever his name, Arnon Milken, and all the movies and the influence in the movie industry. I mean, major influence in the movie. Listen, if somebody owns 5%, a 5% share of Apple, and that is they privately hold a 5% share of Apple, do you think they're influential on the Apple Corporation? You better hurry up and know it. Just 5%, right? And less, actually, but I use 5% because I know that's huge, right? So now here's Rick Rubin, the one who started with Russell Simmons, Def Jam, right? But now here's Kendrick Lamar. Maybe we may say some things about him, but he has a record called Lucy, and it's a dedication to Lucifer. And there's an interview where he actually explains that Lucifer, he doesn't see anything wrong with Lucifer. Lucifer is cool. In fact, Lucifer helps me to understand who I really am. This is Kendrick Lamar. Now, old heads, you might not know Kendrick Lamar. Who's that? Tell me about James Brown. No, okay, fine. Kendrick Lamar, your sons and daughters, they know of him if they're more than teenagers. So that's Kendrick Lamar, Rick Rubin, Jay-Z, Rick Rubin, Ye, what's his name? Ye, Yeezy, whatever. What's that boy's name? I'm looking at him. Kanye, right? Kanye West, right? Jay-Z, billionaire, multi-billionaire. Kanye West, according to reports, multi-billionaire. I saw a report that said he's actually worth $6.6 billion. It was on a legitimate page, a legitimate site. But the point is, they're billionaires. What is that? What do you think that says about it? Now, you look at Rick Rubin. I'm just trying to show you the power of how this influence happens, and the magnitude of it, of the powers behind those that are in front of us, right? And so you have the billions that come through that, right? And let's go on. Here's Rick Rubin with Slayer. He's the producer. He's a producer, right? Slayer. Now, Slayer is that whole. Well, let's just read the line right here. They're during a release party for an album entitled "God Hates Us All." All right, that's Slayer. He's also a producer for AC/DC. Now, I don't know what that means. I've heard it means angel child, devil child. Maybe that's what it means. Don't know. But the point is, that's where he is. You go to go online, look at Rick Rubin's top 100 projects, something like that. Top 100 projects. Man, you hear people who know about the music industry and the power of the music industry, and just one hit record, just one hit record would take care of you for a very, very long time, and your family. What I heard it said, this one, he's involved. They took just what to list the top 100. That's not all. He only had 100 projects, but it's the top 100, and he goes across the span, right? Do you think that that's power in the music industry? This is just one person here, right? When do you think he stopped thinking about money in this whole process? I'm telling you, you can play this game cash flow. You play this game cash flow. What that? You play this game cash flow, and you'll get to a point, if you get out of the rat race. If you get out of the rat race, you get to the point where it said, "Oh, that's how that worked." It's like I'm telling you, you'll stop thinking about, okay, well, you're gonna get 300,000 when you pass this point. It's like it's not even interesting, etc. You're trying to get to the win involved with it. So a 300,000 payday, 500,000 payday, that's not it, because I haven't got that thing that I want. So the point is that it's for a long time it hasn't been about money, if it ever was from the beginning. Okay. Here's the other one. Leor, that's how they pronounce his name, Leor, but no, it's liar. Leor Cohen, right? It says nowadays Leor Cohen is on the board of directors at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and works as the global head of music at YouTube, a position he's held since December 2016. At YouTube, Cohen, spelled Cohen, was instrumental in the launch of the streaming service YouTube Music, which was introduced to compete on a more level playing field with the likes of Apple and Spotify. Now, you know that Jay-Z sold Tidal for so many hundreds of millions of dollars, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, look, Jay-Z is in the game. What level? But no, he's not. He don't have the spiritual, the insight, the knowledge, etc. Well, you don't know what he knows. And he don't have what Rick Rubin has. He consults with Rick Rubin. Leo Cohen, who is on the other side of it. So now you're looking at people who, and that's Russell Simmons in the middle there. You're looking at people who control the lion's share of the biggest hitters in the music industry. Cohen and Rubin. You can sleep if you want to, but that's what it is. So back to the rock and roll piece. That's why it's called rock and roll, because music has charms to soothe a savage breast, to soften rocks, to bend a knotted oak. I've read that things inanimate have moved, and as with living souls, this is telling you how music influences the spiritual nature. As with the living souls have been informed by magic numbers and persuasive sound. All right. This is the heart of the management of society. Music. I'm talking about the Jacobite side of it. I always have to remind my brother William. I agree with him. Sound art in this genre that we're speaking of right here. Sound art. That's a good description. That's for the good side of. But this, what we're talking about, this is music. This is music. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So let's see. Yeah, so let me go ahead and hit this. We're gonna be out. But this is that Mark Zuckerberg commercial. Facebook transitioning to Meta. I know we covered it last week, but this is perfect timing for now to bring it up. How music is being used to charm the savage breast, but then most people understand it in the proverb or the piece, the savage beast. Now watch how I'll remind you again how this game is being used right here. So notice that there's suspicion. They're walking up with suspicion. Say, what are you doing, right? And then so when they look and they're about to catch him, he says, so he rubs the head of what appeared to be the victim, and then they started hitting with the beat, right? Now with the beat, those people that were suspicious of what was going on, the music starts getting into them, and they start getting into the music, right? With all these weird images. And so you forgot all about what you were suspicious about, and they just spooking you up, witch doctor kind of treatment. That's because of that old knowledge. That's that old inherited knowledge. You don't think Mark Zuckerberg inherited that old knowledge of how to manipulate those people who threaten you and how to get control over the people who threaten your existence? You got to know how to use the music. You have to know how to charm them. You have to know how to get them off of you by manipulations. So what have you heard about the Facebook controversy since this woman brought out what was going on there? It's nowhere in the news cycle. Nowhere. And Facebook has disappeared. Poof. We are now Meta. Allahu Akbar. See, that's like the Four Horsemen. That's that character, that Jesse Eisenberg character, the Four Horsemen. Now you see it, now you don't, right? So this is just, all it is just a pure example of what's actually going on. And so you have the idea of, says this, like, make you think that this is that the water buffalo, I'm going to call it the water buffalo. You think that the water buffalo is the victim. right? No, the water buffalo is Hank Heleno. The water buffalo is, but they're able to paint themselves, project themselves. Oh, I'm a victim. Oh, somebody did to me. So, because that's also a part of the game. A part of the game in the world, the way that the world has been set up, if you can project yourself and convince the people looking at you that you are the victim, now you're able to manipulate their motivations, drives, sentiments, and aspirations, because after all, you're the victim. All right. And that's what Bilalians in general have drunk a little too much from that cup that was offered to us by the Jacobite. Learn how to be the victim. Learn how to play the victim, even when you're not the victim. And that is Shaitan too. We haven't gotten to that. We're going to have to go. Where Shaitan said, speaking to Allah, he said, because you have put me in the wrong. So he said, I'm the victim here. And when you look at that devil's advocate monologue that Al Pacino, when it's finally revealed that he is the devil, you listen to his monologue, he's the victim, right? What's that? So that's saying that the key is, if you can project, if you can take the spot of being the victim, now you can manipulate the people who are the onlookers, the people who are suspicious but who don't understand who the real one is. So the idea, meta, you got to keep an eye on health, right? And let's close out with this part right here. Yeah, NWA, right? Talking about music, right? We're back to music. NWA, you see in this image right here, Eazy-E, he had on a number of occasions tried to make it a fashion thing. They say that was the only reason that he was trying to wear sunglasses with only one eye on it. No, that's the Dajjal. That's the Dajjal using that. And when people try to figure out when did the music change, when did the direction of music change from conscious rap, hip hop, et cetera, when it changed, the prime suspect in the changing from being conscious to being gangster, it is the NWA. Niggas with attitudes, right? And there you are. Dr. Dre, another billionaire right there in the middle, still standing out of all the others that have fallen. Dr. Dre is still standing, billionaire as well. Do you think it's something that they know, or is it something that somebody else know? What is it? And Eazy-E, where is he? Dead. Under suspicious circs, as they call it, right? Hank Heleno, there you go. And then TLC, TLC. And you had Left Eye, Lisa Lopez, right? They have a hell of a story. But then also, who's dead? Lisa Left Eye Lopez. Who is she? She was the star. She was the center. She was the rapper. The other two are vocalists. They are vocalists. And they started having, they had sold 20 million albums. 20 million was going on, you see, with all the Grammys. But then they started having those kind of, Michael and what do he say? Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 or something like that. Diana Ross Supremes, that whole kind of kaflama, as they might call it, started going down with them. Okay, so she goes and takes a religious retreat in Barbados or something like that and gets into an unfortunate car accident and dies. Right in the midst of after signing with Death Row Records. Death Row Records runs through all this too. Okay. And where's Suge Knight? All right. So I'm not going to follow the rest of that. The point is, I'm asking you this. Why is it that only those who are pictured with the one eye are dead? Hank Heleno, he dies in the movie. Eazy-E, dead. Left Eye Lisa Lopez, dead. Those ideas. What is that? I know a lot of things that could be said about it, but mashallah, we're not going to say them today. Inshallah, we are going to call it a morning. Yeah, that's it. Oh my God. The images are not showing. Okay. Why do I see them on the screen? Okay. All right. So I'm going to have to figure out something else then. The images weren't showing. All right. Mashallah. It is what it is. I know I have been recording it. So what I'm going to have to do, I guess I'm going to have to pull this down, and we're not seeing the pictures. Mashallah. It says add it to the stream. Wow. Wow. 7:37. Okay, you see them now, but now the party's over. All right, y'all. I don't know what I can say. I'll work out something. I'll work out something. Either I'll have to redo it and or download it. If download it and we see those images, then what I'll do, I'll load it up to YouTube and Facebook in another way. MashaAllah. All right. So may Allah have mercy on us and guide us to the best. And to all of you, alhamdulillah, yes, today is my birthday. And that is why I decided to go topless so you can see me in all of my 70-year-old glory. Praise be to Allah. It's a nice journey and it continues. Allah's peace be on you. Thank you. And again, to all, I may not respond to all and everybody's birthday greetings, but one collective thank you, thank you, thank you for all times. God's peace be on you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.